Have you ever listened to a sermon and the sermon was so inspiring and so authentic that you just were literally drawn to it and you were like eating up every single word that was being said and you didn't want the sermon to end? Well, that's how it was one week when I was watching Craig Rochelle from Life Church. I was watching him online and he was delivering a sermon, I believe, on honor. And I just literally was like hanging on to every single word. And I had an upcoming sermon series on honor. And just as he was speaking, I was like, man, I want to use this. So I went onto his website and they give all the resources for free. So I downloaded the graphics and I downloaded the outline and I downloaded the video and I downloaded the transcript and I downloaded the bulletin outline and I downloaded the pastoral sermon outline. I downloaded all of it and I watched all of his nuances literally for hours. And I got up that next Sunday and I delivered that sermon on honor almost word for word as Craig did. But the problem was his was so intriguing and his was so amazing and mine was terrible. And as you look back, I was like, well, I'm not a bad communicator. I'm not a bad speaker. I mean, I'm really good at what I do. I've worked really hard to craft my communication skills. What's going on? Well, what was going on is one was authentic and the other was a counterfeit. And that's what happens so many times when, we're trying to deliver somebody else's sermon. We're never going to be able to do it like them. The reason is because you're not like them. And so many sermons that we get, we either get them online or we subscribe to like sermoncentral.com or maybe we get good ideas from Logos or whatever, and we go to deliver the sermon and they just sort of fall flat on their face because, they're not from the person who delivered them. And so when I created SermonPal, I was like, I want a better way to do this. I want to be able to help pastors, who are in a pinch and who are struggling for time and who need more creativity and more depth in the sermons. I want to be able to create a better way. So I invented this concept called the Soul Connection Communication Model for Pastors. And what it does is it helps people just like you be able to leverage the power of AI to be able to create an authentic sermon. So in other words, not one that's inspired by Craig Rochelle or Andy Stanley or Rick Warren or whoever you follow, but it's inspired by the Holy Spirit as he uses you in your unique gifts. So what I want to do is I want to take a few minutes and I want to share with you the 6-step soul connection communication model that I put together for pastors. And I want to show you how through this process that we can literally manipulate, if that's a good word to use, but I'm going to go ahead and use it anyway. We can manipulate the platform to be able to write sermons as if it was you yourself writing them. It's almost like you're cloning them. Now, before I get into the lesson, the next video that I'm going to be giving you is called the clone method. It's a 5-step process that I've now used teaching hundreds or thousands of communicators on how to get AI to clone you. So it's writing on your behalf. So I'm going to marry these two trainings. I'm going to marry the soul connection communication model for pastors with the clone method. These two things is what makes this different than any other training that you've seen out there. And it makes it different than if you were just to try to do this on your own. So let's jump into the soul connection communication model for